Synopsis. This investigation arises after Moab City Police Department received a complaint about the way Moab PD case hash 2021-001-108 was handled. The complaint was received by Moab Police Department on September 21st, 2021 by Tanya Reeves. A follow-up complaint was received by Tanya Reeves on October 1st, 2021. I was asked to complete this investigation on September 27th, 2021. A summary of the facts in this case will be detailed below. The summary will come from information obtained from the officer reports, dispatch notes and audio, witness statements, and body-worn camera video of the incident. An initial call to dispatch on August 12, 2021 at 16 hours 39 minutes and 16 seconds, the Grand County Dispatch Center received a call from who was calling to report what he described as a domestic dispute. Reports he was driving and saw a gentleman slapping the girl. Stated he stopped driving and the male and female ran up and down the sidewalk where he proceeded to hit her. Stated they hopped in the van and drove off. Said he took a picture of the license plate and describes the vehicle and the license plate information. Further describes the make, model, and other characteristics of the van. Dispatch action. Dispatch uses the emergency tone and alerts all law enforcement working in the area of the call they just received. Dispatch states they had a report of a male hitting a female and the van left northbound from the Moonflower Community Co-op. Dispatch further provided a description of the vehicle to law enforcement. Moonflower Community Co-op. Action. Officer Pratt arrives on scene at the Moonflower Community Co-op where the incident took place and asks dispatch for the reporting party's phone number. Officer Pratt also tells dispatch he spoke to another witness who gave more details on the vehicle that left. Based on Officer Pratt's report, the witness Officer Pratt is referring to is traffic stop Officer Robbins stops the vehicle on the turnoff road that goes into Arches National Park after he observed the van cross over the double yellow line and crosses back over and hits the curb on the passenger side. Officer Robbins reports to dispatch the driver may be intoxicated after observing the driving pattern. Officer Robbins stops the vehicle and has the female exit the vehicle, separating the male driver and female passenger. From this point forward, the male and female, Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito, never speak to each other again while law enforcement is in contact. Brian Laundrie's statements to law enforcement. Brian stated he and Gabby had not been drinking and said it has been a long day. Brian stated their little squabble started earlier this day when they were at the coffee shop. Brian stated they had been there for so long, from about 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Brian stated the flies had been intense and that the flies have definitely been getting to her, Gabby. Brian stated when they got back to the van, there was some little dirt at the back of the van. Brian stated he moved their food around and there was a little PGE vertical bar for disagreement there. When asked about the disagreement, Brian stated it wasn't much of a disagreement, but went on to say he had dirty feet and said there were little things, relationship things, they were arguing about. Brian stated Gabby was working on her website blog and said he gave her time. Brian stated they had a nice morning, but Gabby got worked up as they were trying to get their day going. Brian said he phone, her rings, and her nails are what likely caused his injuries. Park Ranger Ryan Crawl points out scratches on the left side of Brian's neck, left side of his nose, scratch near the center of his face, and bruise and bleeding on the right side of his head. Officer Robbins finds an additional injury on Brian's right bicep tricep area. Brian said he was not in any pain and that he wasn't complaining. When asked about medication, Brian said he doesn't take any, but said Gabby has told him in the past to take Xanax because of his high anxiety. When asked if Gabby takes medication, he replies while chuckling, smirking, "She's just crazy." Brian then immediately takes back the comment by saying he is kidding. In regards to the driving behavior, Brian stated he hit the curb because Gabby grabbed and turned the wheel. Brian said Gabby told him, "I can't believe we're getting pulled over," when she grabbed the wheel. When asked about his speed, Brian stated it was probably from the adrenaline of getting pulled over and Gabby grabbing the wheel, further stating he was still shaken up from everything that just happened. Brian apologized multiple times for his driving, stating if he was driving too fast before getting pulled over, he was sorry. Brian said they were headed to the park to get water. Gabrielle Petito's statements to law enforcement. While still in the vehicle, Gabby is asked why she was crying. Gabby stated they have been fighting this morning, stating there have been personal issues. Gabby states, I was distracting him from driving, I'm sorry. Once separated, Gabby said she has been having a very stressed morning, later confirming they have not been drinking and they do not drink. Gabby said she was trying to get work done and was apologizing to Brian after she had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back of the van. Gabby said she gets so stressed out and has OCD. Gabby further stated she has a mean attitude but was not trying to be mean about straightening things up. Gabby said she was apologizing but said it in a mean tone, and Brian got frustrated with her and locked her out of the van and told her to go take a breather. Gabby said she wanted to get going and said they were out of water and they were going to the park to refill with water. Gabby states she is trying to start a blog and is building her website and has been stressed about it. Gabby stated she had so much work she was doing on her computer and said Brian doesn't really believe that she can do any of it, which was upsetting to her. Gabby states they have been fighting all morning and Brian wouldn't let her in the van before. When asked why Brian wouldn't let her in the van, Gabby said Brian told her she needed to calm down. Gabby said she is perfectly calm and states Brian really stresses her out and said it has been a rough morning. Gabby said Brian walked away to take a breather, but she didn't want to. Gabby said she wanted to sit in the van because all of her stuff was in there. Gabby stated she had been working in the van and that is where she wanted to be. Gabby said Brian told her to relax, but she didn't want to, so she got real mad. Gabby was asked about the injuries on her left cheek and left arm. Gabby initially said she wasn't sure what caused it, stating the incident happened really fast. Gabby said she was trying to get back in the van and said that Brian's backpack was what got her. Gabby was told about witnesses that reported Brian had hit her. Gabby responded, to be honest, I definitely hit him first. Gabby said she had slapped Brian a couple of times and Brian kept telling her to shut up. Gabby said she hit Brian as I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down. Gabby said Brian reacted by grabbing her arm so I wouldn't slap him. Officer Pratt asked if Brian only grabbed her, and she said yeah. Officer Pratt then asked, did he hit you though? Gabby replied saying, I guess, but I hit him first. Gabby stated Brian grabbed my face, I guess, while also demonstrating the action. Gabby states like, he didn't punch me in the face. Gabby said Brian grabbed her face and said she could feel a cut on her left cheek. Gabby stated when she touches it, it burns. When asked about the van hitting into the curb, Gabby said, I hit him, and stated that was the reason Brian hit the curb. Gabby stated she was hitting Brian while he was driving, but not a lot, but yeah. Gabby said it didn't last long and said she saw the police car behind them and she demonstrated throwing a punch. Gabby said it was when she saw the police lights that she hit Brian and said, you're so stupid, or you're an idiot. Gabby said she did not touch the steering wheel, but only for like a second. I just saw the lights come on. Gabby demonstrated the punch she did to Brian while stating, you're an idiot. Gabby was asked again if she ever touched the steering wheel, and Gabby said, no, I didn't touch the steering wheel at all. Gabby was asked if she takes any medication, and she stated she didn't. Gabby said she does yoga as a coping mechanism and states she has high anxiety and OCD. When asked if Brian is patient with her, Gabby said, yeah, but I get it just makes me upset. I know he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot because I have a lot of anxiety and he definitely has anxiety too. Written and verbal witness statement. Officer Pratt called one of the witnesses via cell phone, also provided a sworn written statement later on. Stated he had observed Brian and Gabby involved in a dispute. Stated from what he could tell, it appeared at one point they may have been fighting over a phone and thought it may have been Gabby's phone. reported Brian was trying to keep Gabby from getting into the van. Said Brian was sitting in the driver's seat while Gabby was trying to get into the van through the driver's side door. Said Gabby hit Brian a few times in the arm and/or face while trying to get into the vehicle. Said Gabby forced her way over Brian's lap via the driver's side door and got into the passenger seat. Heard Gabby tell Brian, "Why do you have to be so mean?" Stated he wasn't sure if it was play fighting, stating Gabby's punches were nothing like slugs to the face, but felt something was off and he had a weird vibe. Stated he wasn't sure how serious the incident was, but to him it seemed like Brian was trying to leave Gabby and possibly take her cell phone. Officer Pratt asked if ever saw Brian strike Gabby, hesitated in his answer, and stated he maybe saw a push or a shove, but nothing like a full-on punch to the face or anything. Officer Pratt asked if their tour could tell if the push or shove was an aggressive action or a defensive maneuver. Wasn't sure, stating it was a good question and wasn't entirely sure what exactly was going on. Said it appeared to him that Brian was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. Said Brian put a backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. Said Brian was stepping into the vehicle and Gabby was out trying to get in. Said he didn't see anything that was Brian kicking Gabby or hitting Gabby, further stating the fighting was kind of light and they were laughing. Again said that Brian was in the driver's seat and had the driver door open and Gabby was hitting Brian near the arm or maybe in the face with an open hand and was telling Brian to let her in. Officer Pratt made arrangements to pick up a statement from at a later time and said he would start writing down what he remembered while it was still fresh on his memory. Said he was casually observing the incident and said again that something seemed off. That statement was attached to the report. End of report. Next, we will discuss the officer's actions in the report. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching